Hello, and welcome to Inventors Helping Inventors. I'm your host, Alan Beckley, inventor of the Wonder Wallet. If you're an inventor searching for proven ways to make money with your invention, if you dream to see your product selling in stores everywhere, you've come to the right place. There's no better place to get help than from experts, inventors who've already achieved success. Every week, I interview successful inventors, asking them the questions you want to know. Tune in to learn from the experts so you can get your invention out of the tank and into the bank.
I was out for a jog, and if you are a casual person that exercises or, works outside, yard work, or, taking the dog for a walk, and you're sweating, if you do not have a towel with you, you end up doing what I like to call the shirt shimmy. So you're pulling the bottom of your shirt tail up, or you're using the sleeves of your shirt in order to, wipe that perspiration away. And it was in that moment that I realized that I needed something that I could bring with me instead of wear on me with respect to, managing my glistening and my sweat.
Wanted to take just a couple of moments to invite you to attend an upcoming training webinar that we have about 2 seats left. And if you act quickly, you can join us. What's the topic? The topic is Powerful AI Workshop to Transform How Inventors Work. Sound interesting? It's happening pretty soon, but let me tell you what is going on in this workshop and then all the details and why I think you might like to join us. So, 2 topics. When you need to know how to do something, one of the places you go is to YouTube, right? YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Here's the challenge. You can spend an hour or 2 hours watching YouTube how-to videos to get to just the 2 to 3 minutes of instruction that you really need. Well, how about if you could use AI to quickly curate the videos and create a bulleted summary of each video that you can review in about 30 seconds and then decide if you want to invest the time to watch that video. In some cases, your answer's right there in the bulleted summary. Sound cool? But wait, there's more. Item 2 is, if you're anything like me, I do a podcast, though I listen to a lot of podcasts. You can get a lot of great information from podcasts, right? Well, once again, here's the challenge. A lot of great podcasts are an hour or longer. So you have to invest quite a bit of time to gather the information from it. Well, once again, you can use the power of AI. One of my favorite podcasts is Lewis Howes' School of Greatness. The challenge is most of the episodes are an hour or even more in length. Once again, you could use AI to curate the podcast, grab the MP3 from it, and then create a bulleted summary of everything that's in that podcast. So you can review it in about 30 seconds and then make a decision whether you're going to go ahead and invest the hour to listen to it, or once again, the answers you're looking for may be right there in the bulleted summary. Sound cool? Again, to summarize, the 2 key things you're going to learn in the Powerful AI Workshop to Transform How Inventors Work is how to curate YouTube videos, drop them into bulleted summaries that you can quickly browse and determine whether or not you want to watch them. And item number 2 for podcasts, the same thing. How to curate lengthy podcast episodes, drop them into bulleted summaries you can scan in 30 seconds, and decide whether to invest your time. As you can see, this powerful class is going to teach you how to be much more productive and selective with the time you invest in your business. So let me get to the final point. When is the class? What is the investment? And how do you sign up? Well, the class is very soon. I've got 2 openings. It's Tuesday night, the 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And the investment is only $97. And by the way, everyone who joins will get a really nice bonus. You get a free 1-hour coaching with me. That's a $150 value just for participating in the training. So to sign up, just go to alanbeckley.com/AI. Again, to sign up and join and take one of the 2 final remaining seats for the Powerful AI workshop, just go to alanbeckley.com/AI. And hopefully we will see you on Tuesday night. Welcome to episode number 530. Today is a rebroadcast of one of our classic favorites, episode number 477, back to January 20th of this year with successful inventor Sara Slettebo. Sara invented Dry and Stride, a hands-free activity towel perfect for joggers and other athletes. I think you're going to enjoy this episode as much as I did. Growing up in a Navy family, frequent moves were a way of life for Sara Slettebo as a child. She may have gone to 8 different schools. This continual change taught her to be creative, which has served her well as an inventor. As an adult, she settled in the Jacksonville, Florida area where she lives today. One day in 2015, while jogging around her neighborhood, she wiped the sweat off her face with her shirt tail. Sara realized there were plenty of products to store phones and water bottles hands-free, but nothing on the market that could be used for a towel. So she invented a hands-free, retractable activity towel called Dry and Stride. With some creativity and parts sourced from local retailers, the first functional prototype of Dry and Stride was developed. Over the next several years, the idea was further refined, tested, and refined again until hands-free, retractable towels officially hit the market in 2023 and were patented in 2024. Prior to starting Dry and Stride, Sara had worked exclusively for service-based companies. So the learning curve to transition to a sales-heavy and product-based startup had been steep. Surrounded by a strong support and mentoring team and applying lessons learned helped Sara to gain her first retail client in late 2023. Dry and Stride then expanded to several retail and wholesale online platforms such as Amazon, Walmart, and Range Me in 2024. Sara has degrees in business management and transportation and logistics, and is a recent graduate of the Jacksonville Chamber Jax Bridges program. She currently serves as a Clay Chamber ambassador and has previously served as a Jim Moran Institute for Global Entrepreneurship Fellow, Athena Program Mentor, and as a Small Business Development Center Advisory Council member. Sara has been happily married since 2001 and currently has 2 feline fur babies. You'll want to listen to this entire episode where Sara shares why she decided to make her towels with bamboo fibers instead of traditional terry cloth. Also, how she learned that her Dry and Stride was great for pickleball and even for high school marching band members. And finally, how she discovered that a no answer just means not this way, to try another approach. So now let's get right to our interview with Sara Slettebo. Well, Sara Slettebo, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. I wanted to ask to kick off, can you share a bit of your background with our listeners? Where did you grow up and go to school, and what did you do before you became an inventor? Could you share that with us?
Of course. I grew up as a Navy brat. So the first 20 years of my life was spent moving from one place to another. And as a matter of fact, there was a running joke that by the time I was in the 9th grade, I was already at my 8th different school. So I grew up with the, ability to adapt and problem solve, just because as much as I would like to say that moving around as as a military family, it never goes as planned. You're losing things, your houses get bigger or smaller, you're joining schools, in the middle of the year. So I believe that my ability to be creative with the, items that I have at my disposal at any given time is helped lend to some creativity that I think ultimately helped me with this particular invention.
Well, thanks for sharing that story with us. I think you said you were a Navy brat. Did I get that right?
That is correct. My
Yeah.
dad served in 1999 when he retired.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, to the point, anytime, especially as you're growing up as a child, something, there's parents talk a lot about is trying to keep your kids consistent in the same schools. But if you're moving all the time, you have to learn to be creative, and your friends are going to change all the time. So I suspect one of the skills you develop early on is making new friends. You probably had become an expert at starting people you didn't even know that you quickly became friends with.
Absolutely. I have never met a stranger.
And so that's another great skill there. So it definitely helped your creative juices flow, and a lot of things from our childhood really do shape our adulthood, and especially when it comes to inventing, in my opinion. So can you briefly share with our listeners the what we call the aha moment, the event that caused you to invent your dry and stride towel product? What was that aha moment that kicked that off?
I wish I could say it was something glamorous, but it was really just running around the neighborhood. I was out for a jog. And if you are a casual person that exercises or, works outside, yard work, or, taking the dog for a walk, and you're sweating, if you do not have a towel with you, you end up doing what I like to call the shirt shimmy. So you're pulling the bottom of your shirt tail up, or you're using the sleeves of your shirt in order to, wipe that perspiration away. And it was in that moment that I realized that I needed something that I could bring with me instead of wear on me with respect to, managing my glistening and my sweat, which subsequently led me down a path of realizing that there wasn't anything in the market at that time. And that's where the idea of dry and stride ultimately originated from.
I wanted to share a short story with you. As an entrepreneur, I've got too many projects and too little time. So I work to squeeze more juice out of each day. Get up early and dive into my work. Then I look up and it's bedtime and I still have work to do. It's hard to slow down and relax for a restful sleep. Can you identify? Then I learned about mental wealth. Mental wealth means investing in habits today to build your resilience for tomorrow's challenges. It's a sort of mental savings account you can tap when life gets tough. There are 5 pillars to mental wealth: sleep, diet, exercise, stress management, and exogenous compounds. Exogenous compounds are things you eat or drink that provide a health benefit. Turns out that Magic Mind's tasty green shots support all 5 pillars of mental wealth. Now they've got a dynamic duo, a daytime elixir I've been drinking in the morning for clarity and focus, plus a special nighttime elixir, clinically proven to help you relax and sleep well. Why am I telling you about this? My friends at Magic Mind have a January offering, a special dual pack with both morning and nighttime elixirs, just for my podcast listeners. They're offering you a dual pack of focus and sleep shots bundled for first time at 45% off. Ready to make 2025 the year you build your mental resilience? Magic Mind is here to help. Just go to www.magicmind.com/Alan B. Jan. That's ALAN, the letter B, JAN, all one word. magicmind.com/Alan B. Jan to grab your dual pack of Magic Mind shots at 45% off for a limited time. Ready for more daytime clarity and restful sleep? Claim yours now at magicmind.com/Alan B. Jan now. Give Magic Mind a try. Claim your dual pack discount and let me know what you think. I think your experience with this tasty green elixir would be just as magic as mine. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I like the phrase, I think you said, a shirt shimmy.
Yes.
I like that.
Sometimes you're standing and you're trying to do that crouch of getting, the bottom shirt tail. And I'm not a supermodel. I wish I was. But, for most of us that are just average, everyday people, that's not the most attractive look on the side of the road in the neighborhood of trying to adjust yourself into that t-shirt in order to wipe down your sweat.
There we go. It makes perfect sense. And especially the idea that it's not only being able to bring a towel with you, but also having it where it's convenient to get to, which leads to our next question. Can you describe your invention where our listeners can visualize it and how it works? On your website, you describe it as the ultimate hands-free, go anywhere, retractable towel. Also, second part of this question, who would be your strongest natural clients for this invention? In other words, who would benefit the most from using it, would you say?
Great questions, Alan. I like to explain the dry and stride towel product as if you had an ID badge, say, when you're going into an office and it's, connected to you at your waist and you extend your arm in order to scan your badge. It's on a reel of sorts. The dry and stride takes that concept, and instead of having your IDs at the end of that reel, you've got a towel. So it snaps onto a reel, which clips onto your waistband or to a backpack. And then you just grab it and pull it when you need it. And then when you're finished, it retracts back to its original position. As far as clients go, it was designed to be for the casual person that exercises or that is outside. So a jogger, a runner, not a professional, but just, your sort of your everyday neighbor, if you will. And interesting, as time has gone on, it seems like once someone has this product, they tell me of another way that you can use it. So pickleball is an area of growth we were not expecting, but is very popular right now. A friend of mine uses it for her son in a high school band while he is practicing playing his trumpet. So it seems like for every one primary idea or use we have of this product, there are 2 or 3 other ideas that it can also apply to as well.
You make several great points there. One of them is that, first of all, you did identify your strongest natural market. Not every inventor does that. I call it the center of the bell curve or the easiest sell. And this could be the casual exerciser. But also, you've discovered, I think, what just about every inventor discovers. Once you get your product out there and it's beginning to sell in the marketplace, customers come to you with uses for your product that you yourself would have not thought of otherwise. So in this case, you said band and trumpet. Imagine a marching band practicing in the afternoon on a warm day. That would be ideal. Or somebody that is pickleball, which is such a fast growth segment right now. And many other things like that. I could even imagine somebody playing tennis might like to have that where they could access it easily.
Yes, it's been great to hear the creativity that others have. I think as inventors, we always think we have the best idea or that we can make it applicable to hundreds or thousands of different options. And so to hear that viability from others has been a really fun experience throughout this invention journey.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Something I sometimes stress to inventors is dead inventory can kill you. In other words, having way too much inventory, anticipation of sales in a certain segment before they've really emerged could mean inventory you can't really sell. The opposite is when enough people say, I play pickleball and this would be perfect for me. I think people who play pickleball would really love this. Well, now you know that if you have one, especially for pickleball players, it's not going to be dead inventory because you already have markets that are asking for it.
That's a great way to look at it. Reframe your audience, possibly reframe your marketing efforts, and it certainly would help offset any potential or perceived dead inventory that you have.
Yeah, now I'd like to go to a bit of a devil's advocate question, but I do these because it may be something listeners are wondering or thinking about. So a skeptic's question, some listeners may be thinking, what aspects of your product are patentable, since there are no doubt many patents existing for various towel and also clip designs? So what aspects would you say, or have you decided and found are patentable?
Great question, Alan. I actually, throughout this journey, learned something that I had never known before. And that's that there are 2 types of patents available to you. I believe most people, because I certainly was in this position, think of the traditional utility patent. That is sort of what defines, how a car is built or a lot of your technology. It's all of those unique brand new functions that are out there, that solve some sort of problem. But another type of patent is called the design patent. And this is traditionally used for ornamental items, textiles such as clothing. As you mentioned, there are lots of different towels out there. So you cannot just patent a towel. And you can't even necessarily patent the textile, like the fabric, if it's a terry cloth or a bamboo or a microfiber. But how you put things together in a visual aspect, or as the attorneys like to call an ornamental perspective, is where you can drive that patent from. So in this case, the patent was done, one with the two items that we are putting together. So it's the type of textile and the clip, because at this point, they really haven't been put together this way. But more importantly, it's where the snap is on the towel in relation to the clip. So because we have it in a very unique space, which is more centered on the towel versus on the end, that becomes a patentable item. The type of textile that we are using is a bamboo fiber, and it was selected because of its premium quality, but more importantly, because of its antibacterial and hypoallergenic properties. Since this towel is being used primarily for sweat, or wiping off your hands, we wanted something that would provide a bit more protection than just a general, other textile like a terry cloth or a cotton fiber that really can kind of hold on to those that growth, because it's just not very sanitary. So we chose the bamboo fiber because of those more hygienic benefits that it brings. And it's also more absorbent than your traditional terry cloth towel. So we can use a smaller towel that provides a bigger benefit than its terry cloth counterparts.
So I'd like to ask you or discuss with you, you manufacture, market, and distribute your product yourself, as we call it sometimes DIY, do it yourself. Can you share with us where Dry and Stride is currently selling? And then also long-term, do you plan to continue to venture your product, or would you consider licensing it if you saw an attractive deal?
Yes. So I think I'd like to say I'm a glutton for punishment, which is why Dry and Stride is more of a bootstrap invention at this point. But I am very happy that from a consumer perspective, we're not only online with our website, but in 2024, we transitioned to get onto the Amazon and the Walmart marketplaces online also. We have a couple of other locations from a wholesale perspective and even like private label and drop ship platforms. But we really are sort of pressing the consumer market because I think that's the most attractive option that we have at this point, in our product life cycle.
Well,
With respect to long term, yes, I would prefer, if I could, to license this. I am not an expert in the textile arena by any stretch of the imagination or manufacturing. And so if I was able to find a partner that really understood this and could take Dry and Stride to the levels that I think obtain, I would be more than happy to be open to something like that. And I'm looking forward to focusing on different events in 2025 that are more venture licensing, manufacturing type relationships.
well, thanks for explaining that. That's helpful. I was going to ask, you also sell it on your website as well, right?
That is correct.
So we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, so as we roll toward close, are there any parting words you'd like to leave us with?
Yes. Two pieces of information that I think can apply to anyone, whether they are an inventor or not. And these are, the old wise word, AKA my parents taught me this as I was growing up. The first one is, just because the answer's no doesn't mean no. It just means not that way. So don't let no, serve as an immediate roadblock. We just sometimes have to get a little creative about our approach, our technique, our wording in order to get that from a no to a yes. So I don't generally let no stop me. It might pause me, but it generally doesn't completely stop me. And the second one, we don't always know what's going on in someone else's life when we're talking to them. So I always try to be as happy as I can with someone. And I like to say that if you smile, sometimes it can confuse people because we've become so serious in a lot of, aspects in our lives that it's just nice to see a friendly face. And so I try to be that friendly face when I'm speaking with someone because I think it just really helps set a tone for a very positive discussion, no matter what the topic may be.
Well, you hit on two such really great points. And in this case, I'm going to expand on them just slightly. I especially like your point about no, meaning not that way. I sometimes say there's actually three different meanings for the word no. One of them is the one too many inventors think, no, not ever. That's almost never the meaning. Often the meaning is no, not now. In other words, maybe you came to them at the wrong time of the year. Maybe they've just closed their budget. They're not taking on new products. And then the other one, which I think you kind of spoke to, is no, not right now, because perhaps they didn't receive your message as well as you would have liked them to. So either way, you could come back at another point in time and try again. So it's almost never no, not ever. That's a very rare one, but that too many inventors take it as an absolute. And then your second point I also liked when you said be as happy as you can with someone. Over time, I've done a lot of public speaking of different kinds to different groups and things like this. And one of the things I came to the conclusion of is maybe as much as a third of your audience at any given point in time are going through some kind of pain in their life. Maybe they've, got some kind of chronic disease. Maybe they've just lost somebody in their life. Maybe they're going through a divorce. They're going through something they're struggling with. So if you can brighten up their day just a bit, tell them a joke or, get them to smile, you never know how many people you may touch and help in a way you would have never expected.
I really like that.
I've had some fun with that for sure. But I do like your point about no, especially as well. Well, my last question for you is how can our listeners reach you if they have other questions? And also, how could they purchase a Dry and Stride from you?
I like to help people any way that I can. So if any of the listeners would like to learn more or just have a general question, they could reach me either, a contact form on our website at www.dryandstride.com, or they can email me. My email address is info, I-N-F-O, at dryandstride.com. So either way, I'm available and I do try to get back the same day, but it might be a day or two, just depending on, what is going on with respect to calendars and meetings and the like. And for the listeners, if they are interested in Dry and Stride and maybe think this is a perfect product for them, I am offering a special discount on our website. If listeners use the code POD12, that's POD12, they can receive 12% off any of the products on dryandstride.com.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm going to do this in reverse order, just quickly highlighting. For our listeners, if they go to the website, dryandstride.com, and I want to spell that out, DRYINSTRIDE.com, they can receive a 12% discount if they use the code POD12, POD12. So that's really a fantastic deal for our listeners, and I really appreciate that. And again, your website is www.dryandstride.com, and they can reach you at info@dryandstride.com. Did I get that right?
Absolutely, Alan.
Well, as we close, I want to thank you so much, Sara, for being on the podcast with us today and sharing your journey, how you came up with this product and the various markets you now see going for it. And what I would like to ask is maybe in another 6 months or a year, get back in touch with you and see what you've got going on at that time and have you on the podcast again.
That would be fantastic, Alan. I will look forward to that. And I hope to have a lot of great news stories to share with you and your listeners.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
I want to take just a couple of moments to do something I don't do often enough, and that is to give you a huge thanks for being a loyal listener to the Inventors Helping Inventors podcast. If you've listened to 2 episodes, or 200, or 400, or anywhere in between, you are a loyal listener, and I appreciate every single one of you. This particular week is very important and meaningful to me. Why? Because on January 14th in 2019, I started this podcast 6 years ago. And I have to tell you, when I first started this podcast, I didn't know if I could find 50 inventors I could interview for the podcast, much less over 300 that I found and more coming to me every day. It's absolutely amazing, and I just love this journey. Without you and podcast listeners all over the world, this podcast would certainly not be going. So once again, I want to thank you. I'm so excited to now have gone on for 6 years with this podcast. My goal is to help you and inventors all over the world by bringing you interesting guests with interesting inventions and cool products, and to share their life stories, their challenges, and their aha moments with you. I hope this will help you as you go through the challenges with your own invention. Now, I'd like to finish with a small favor, and that is, if you could take just a couple of moments and give me not only a rating, preferably 5 stars, but also a review on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, that would be amazing. It helps the podcast more than you might know to keep going and to draw other listeners just like you. And sometimes inventors tell me, well, I don't listen to podcasts, so where do I find it? If they tell you that, here's what you tell them. They can always find the podcast on www.alanbeckley.com/podcast. They can find every episode there. So thank you again for being a loyal listener, and more is coming in 2025. Thanks so much for tuning in to Inventors Helping Inventors. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts so you won't miss a single episode. Talk to you soon.